Picture this, a film so dangerous that governments tried to burn every print. Priests condemned it from pulpits. Critics called it the filthiest thing ever made. Yet today, these forbidden masterpieces sit on your streaming queue. The 60s weren't just about peace and love. Behind closed doors, cinema was waging war against every taboo society held sacred. Ready to discover what your grandparents were forbidden to see? Freaks, 1932. Wait, this isn't from the 60s, but hear me out. When the counterculture discovered Todd Browning's Nightmare in the early 60s, it exploded like a grenade in underground cinemas. Wanted this buried forever, and for 30 years, Britain kept it locked away tighter than nuclear secrets. Here's the twisted genius. Browning cast real circus performers with actual physical differences. The studio panicked during test screenings when one woman allegedly miscarried from the shock. They butchered the film from 90 minutes to 64, but even neutered, audiences fled theaters in Atlanta. The UK banned it until 1963, making it one of the longest prohibitions in British censorship history. Critics destroyed Browning's career overnight. One review suggested the only way to dispose of it was to shovel it down the nearest sewer. The film cost Browning everything, yet here's the kicker. He wasn't exploiting these performers. He'd lived among them, worked the circus circuit as a kid. His film asked one revolutionary question audiences couldn't handle in either 1932 or the conservative early 60s. Who are the real monsters? The answer scared everyone senseless. When 60s hippies reclaimed the word freak as a badge of honor, this became their forbidden gospel. The irony burns. A film championing outsiders got exiled for decades. Cinema's most compassionate horror became its most suppressed. That's not just banned, that's erased, until the freaks fought back. Peeping Tom, 1960. Michael Powell committed career execution with a camera. The man who gave Britain the red shoes and black Narcissus suddenly handed them a serial killer who films women dying, replaying their terror for his pleasure. Critics didn't just pan it, they wanted Powell jailed. Mark Lewis stalks London with a camera hiding a blade in its tripod. He's making a documentary about fear itself, capturing the moment death registers in their eyes. Powell shot this in saturated Technicolor, making murder look gorgeous. That was the unforgivable sin. The Observer called it disgusting. Tribune suggested flushing it down a sewer. Finland banned it for 21 years. Powell's genius was making audiences complicit. Every shot through Mark's viewfinder puts you behind the lens. You become the killer. You watch with him. That meta-commentary on cinema's voyeurism? Absolutely revolutionary. And absolutely career-ending. Powell went from Britain's finest to unemployable in weeks. The film vanished for 2 decades. Martin Scorsese resurrected it in the late 70s, calling it essential viewing for any director. He married Powell's editor, for heaven's sake. Today, it's recognized as a masterpiece that invented the slasher film. Viridiana, 1961. Luis Buñuel walked back into Franco's Spain after 25 years of exile and detonated a bomb disguised as a nun. The Vatican called it blasphemous before Franco even saw it. When it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, Spain tried to have the negative destroyed. They failed. The film survived. The Spanish official who approved it got fired. Here's the setup. Viridiana is a novice nun visiting her uncle, who drugs and nearly assaults her. After his hanging, she turns his estate into a sanctuary for beggars. They thank her by staging a drunken Last Supper parody, then attempting to assault her. Every act of Christian charity curdles into depravity. Buñuel wasn't subtle. The Last Supper scene sealed its fate. Beggars posed at a table, mimicking Da Vinci, while one woman flashes them. The Vatican newspaper condemned it immediately. Franco banned it in Spain until 1977, 2 years after he died. The film didn't premiere in its home country for 16 years. Buñuel claimed he didn't set out to be blasphemous, then added with perfect deadpan that Pope John XXIII was a better judge of such things. That's the director trolling the Vatican in real time. The film argues that organized religion enables hypocrisy while crushing genuine faith. In Franco's Catholic dictatorship, that message was more dangerous than dynamite. Blow Up, 1966. Michelangelo Antonioni strolled into swinging London and destroyed the Hays Code with a fashion photographer, some models, and zero regard for American censorship. MGM refused to release it without the production code seal. They released it anyway. That one decision collapsed 30 years of Hollywood self-censorship. Thomas the photographer snaps pictures in a park and discovers he might have captured a murder, or maybe nothing. Antonioni never tells you. Reality becomes negotiable. But here's why censors panicked. Antonioni showed full frontal female body parts and Thomas having relations with 2 aspiring models simultaneously. In 1966, in mainstream cinema, the Catholic Legion of Decency condemned it. The MPAA denied approval. MGM formed a subsidiary distributor to release it without the seal. The film made $20 million on a budget of $1.8 million. Critics called it a masterpiece. The production code, already dying, collapsed entirely by 1968. Blow Up proved audiences wanted adult content and wouldn't accept censorship anymore. The Yardbirds perform with Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck. Jane Birkin makes her film debut. Antonioni questions whether objective truth exists, suggesting perception is reality and reality is negotiable. That philosophical depth wrapped in gorgeous cinematography and boundary-pushing content made it untouchable. The film isn't banned today, but its cultural impact was explosive. It proved art could be commercially successful while ignoring censorship boards. Hollywood would never be the same. Antonioni didn't just make a great film. He killed the code that controlled American cinema for decades. Mondo Cane, 1962. 3 Italian directors toured the world with cameras and created the shockumentary. Mondo Cane means dog's world, and it shows exactly that. Humanity at its most brutal, bizarre, and incomprehensible. Pet cemeteries in California cut to dog meat markets in Taiwan. Tribal rituals juxtaposed with Western decadence. It was nominated for the Palme d'Or at Cannes and made millions. It also launched 1,000 imitators and got banned in the UK. Critics called it vulgar and exploitative. They weren't wrong. The film staged several scenes for maximum shock value while claiming documentary authenticity. Its theme song, More, became a global hit and earned an Oscar nomination. The cognitive dissonance was staggering, a film showing slaughtered animals and bizarre customs spawning a romantic ballad. The sequel brazenly opened with a joke about the first film being banned in Britain because of its treatment of dogs. That's the filmmakers laughing at censors while serving up more graphic content. The Mondo genre would eventually devolve into pure exploitation, culminating in the notorious Faces of Death series decades later. But the original retained some artistic merit. It forced Western audiences to confront cultural practices they found repulsive while simultaneously showing their own absurdities. Wealthy Americans holding pet funerals while others starve. Ritual scarification versus cosmetic surgery. The film argued all cultures have their barbarism. 60s audiences weren't ready for anthropology filtered through exploitation. They wanted National Geographic, not cynical commentary on human cruelty. Mondo Cane gave them both, earning condemnation and commercial success simultaneously. It proved audiences craved forbidden spectacle. The Devils, 1971. Ken Russell took a 17th-century French witch trial and turned it into the most banned film in Warner Brothers history. The Devils features possessed nuns, political persecution, graphic torture, and a scene where nuns assault a statue of Christ. Warner Brothers still refuses to release the full director's cut. That's how controversial this remains. Oliver Reed plays Father Grandier, a charismatic priest in Loudun, protecting his town from Cardinal Richelieu's power grab. Vanessa Redgrave is Sister Jean, a hunchbacked nun whose unrequited lust for Grandier explodes into accusations of demonic possession. What follows is an orgy of religious hysteria, false testimony, and brutal execution. Russell shot sequences of nuns writhing in ecstasy that got the film banned in multiple countries. The Vatican called for the Venice Film Festival director to be fired for showing it. American censors cut the ending where Sister Jeanne pleasures herself with Grandier's charred bone. That footage was only discovered in 2002. Warner Bros. Included it in a theatrical release, but never on home video. The British Board of Film Censors found combining religious imagery with graphic content almost impossible to navigate. Russell didn't care. He wanted to expose how church and state manipulate faith for political control. The film argues institutional religion enables abuse, and that message terrified everyone in 1971. Derek Jarman designed sets inspired by Fritz Lang's Metropolis, stark white, futuristic, deliberately anachronistic. Russell rejected period film cliches. The result looks like a fever dream, all hysteria and excess and operatic madness. It's brilliant. It's also unwatchable at times. The torture sequences remain genuinely disturbing. Critics who dismissed it then now call it a masterpiece. Filmmakers like Scorsese, Cronenberg, and Del Toro praise its audacity. But Warner Bros. Keeps it locked away, probably forever. Some films are too dangerous even for home video. Last Tango in Paris, 1972. Bernardo Bertolucci cast Marlon Brando as a grieving widower who begins an anonymous relationship with a young Parisian woman. The film features graphic intimacy, emotional brutality, and a controversial scene involving butter that sparked international outrage. Italy banned it, seized all prints, ordered them destroyed, and gave Bertolucci a suspended prison sentence. Brando was 48. Maria Schneider was 19. He made $3 million. She made $4,000. Decades later, Schneider revealed Bertolucci and Brando conspired on the infamous butter scene without informing her. She felt humiliated and manipulated. That revelation transformed the film's legacy from controversial art to document of on-set mistreatment. The film premiered at the New York Film Festival in 1972 with $5 tickets and advance sales of $100,000. Pauline Kael compared it to Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, a landmark cultural earthquake. Time and Newsweek ran cover stories. The media frenzy was unprecedented. Playboy published images of the stars. Everyone wanted to see what the scandal was about. The MPAA gave it an X rating. Mary Whitehouse, Britain's moral crusader, demanded it be banned entirely. It got butchered in multiple countries. Yet it became the 7th highest-grossing film of 1973 in America. Audiences wanted forbidden fruit, and Bertolucci delivered. The relationship in the film is toxic, obsessive, and ultimately deadly. Brando's character uses intimacy as escape from grief. Schneider's character shoots him when he wants to transform their arrangement into something real. It's not romantic, it's devastating. Today, the film is nearly unwatchable knowing what Schneider endured. The butter scene everyone debated for years. She was crying real tears because she genuinely felt violated. The director admitted wanting her humiliated reaction as a girl, not an actress. A Clockwork Orange, 1971. Stanley Kubrick adapted Anthony Burgess's novel about ultraviolence and psychological conditioning, creating cinema's most controversial meditation on free will. Britain blamed the film for copycat crimes. Kubrick pulled it from UK distribution himself after death threats against his family. It stayed banned in Britain until his death in 1999. Malcolm McDowell is Alex, a charismatic sociopath leading his droogs through nights of assault and Beethoven appreciation. After imprisonment, he undergoes the Ludovico technique, aversion therapy that removes his capacity for violence but also his free will. Kubrick asks, "Is it better to choose evil than be forced into good?" The film was condemned for glamorizing violence. Critics missed Kubrick's satire entirely. He shot violence stylistically to make audiences complicit, then asked if removing choice makes someone human. The British press linked it to several crimes. Kubrick, protecting his family, withdrew the film from UK cinemas. That self-imposed ban lasted 27 years. In America, it received an X rating until edits brought it to R. The Catholic office condemned it. Critics were split. Brilliant or dangerous? Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars, calling it a social artifact without insight. Pauline Kael loved it. The debate raged for decades. The ending Kubrick filmed differs from Burgess's novel. Alex undergoes treatment, loses it, attempts death. The Wild Angels, 1966. Roger Corman took the Hells Angels, cast Peter Fonda and Nancy Sinatra, and created the outlaw biker film. Britain banned it immediately. The film features drugs, violence, gang assault, and a funeral turned into an orgy in a church. Critics called it reprehensible. Audiences made it a massive hit. The plot is minimal. Heavenly Blues leads his biker gang through California, pursuing freedom and chaos. When a member gets shot stealing a motorcycle, they kidnap him from the hospital. He dies. At his funeral in a church, the gang gets intoxicated, desecrates the building, and engages in inappropriate behavior. The sequence shocked everyone. British censors banned it outright. American critics condemned it. The American International Pictures knew what they had. Youth rebellion on 2 wheels with 0 apologies. The film made millions and launched the biker exploitation genre. Easy Rider wouldn't exist without it. Corman shot guerrilla style with real Hells Angels as extras. The danger was genuine. The chaos was barely controlled. That authenticity terrified censors. This wasn't Hollywood fantasy. These were real outlaws doing what they actually did, just on camera. The film argues society rejects bikers, so bikers reject society. That nihilism resonated with 60s youth questioning authority. The establishment saw it as celebrating lawlessness. Both were right. Corman captured something primal, the allure of living outside rules, consequences be damned. Fonda's performance defined the anti-hero archetype for a generation. Nancy Sinatra brought star power. The Killing of Sister George, 1968. Robert Aldrich directed this adaptation about a woman actress who plays a beloved children's show character while living as a woman who loves women in swinging London. For 1968, this was thermonuclear. The film features the first explicit same-gender intimacy scene in mainstream cinema. The MPAA gave it an X rating. Britain released it uncut. America was scandalized. Beryl Reid plays George, an actress facing the cancellation of her character and the dissolution of her relationship with her younger partner. Susanna York is that partner, pursued by a predatory television executive. Coral Brown plays the executive with chilling precision. The film depicts a relationship imploding under professional pressure and personal betrayal. The controversial sequence, set in a women-only club, features intimacy between two women that violated every censorship standard. Aldrich shot it not for titillation, but for character development. Critics didn't care. They condemned it anyway. The MPAA demanded cuts. Aldrich refused. X rating it was. What makes Sister George radical isn't just representation. It's the refusal to punish these characters for their identity. George is angry, bitter, alcoholic, and cruel. The film presents a woman who loves women as complex human, not moral lesson. That was revolutionary. Susanna York reportedly struggled with the intimate scenes but delivered a fearless performance. The club sequence took days to shoot. Aldrich protected his actresses while pushing boundaries. Faces of Death, 1978. This doesn't belong here chronologically, but its roots trace directly to Mondokane's 60s innovations. Faces of Death took the shockumentary formula and cranked it to 11, supposed real footage of executions, autopsies, and deaths worldwide. Most was staged. Audiences believed it anyway. The film was banned in dozens of countries and launched countless imitators. The director used a pseudonym. Smart move. The film purports to show actual death. Electric chair executions, slaughterhouse footage, cult activities, alligator attacks. Some real, most fake, all presented as genuine. The narrator intones philosophical musings about mortality while showing mutilated bodies. It became a cult phenomenon through word of mouth and bootleg VHS. Your friend's older brother had a copy. You watched it at sleepovers, terrified and thrilled. The mystique came from supposed authenticity. Later investigations revealed extensive staging. Didn't matter. The damage was done. Censorship made it legendary. Banned in countries worldwide, it circulated underground like contraband. That forbidden status made it irresistible. Teenagers sought it out precisely because adults forbade it. The more authorities condemned it, the more viewers it gained. The film spawned 4 sequels and dozens of imitators. Traces of Death series, banned from television, death scenes compilations. The shockumentary became a video store staple throughout the 80s and 90s. Faces of Death started that flood. Today, it looks absurdly fake. 90s teenagers couldn't tell. We believed we were witnessing forbidden reality. That gullibility embarrasses us now, but the film's cultural impact remains. It proved audiences craved transgressive content, real or not. The ethical questions linger. The film argues yes while making you feel guilty for watching. That tension kept people coming back. Discretion be damned. I Am Curious, Yellow, 1967. Swedish director Vilgot Sjöman made 2 experimental films about a young woman exploring politics and intimacy in Stockholm. Yellow came first, containing explicit scenes that detonated in American courts. The film was seized by U.S. Customs, banned as obscene, fought to the Supreme Court, and became the most profitable foreign film in American history. That's the power of censorship creating legend. The film intercuts documentary footage with fictional narrative. Lena interviews citizens about class, government, and morality while conducting an open relationship with a married man. The film shows full-body exposure and intimate acts explicitly. Nothing hardcore, but far beyond American standards. Customs seized it in 1967. The legal battle lasted 2 years. The Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that the film had redeeming social value. That narrow decision effectively ended film censorship in America. If I Am Curious qualified as art, what didn't? The ruling opened floodgates. Within months, explicit content flooded American cinemas. The irony burns. Schumann made a political film about Swedish society. American censorship transformed it into legendary forbidden content. The publicity drove millions to theaters. Lines wrapped around blocks. Everyone wanted to see what the government tried banning. The film made $20 million, unheard of for foreign art cinema. The actual film is slow, political, and deliberately unseductive. Schumann wasn't making titillation. He was examining Swedish society through provocative personal narrative. 12 films that terrified censors, destroyed careers, and changed cinema forever. Some deserved their controversy. Others were ahead of their time. All of them asked audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about art, morality, and what we're willing to see. So here's my question. Should any film ever be banned? These movies proved censorship creates mystique and drives demand. The forbidden becomes irresistible. Or does society need gatekeepers protecting audiences? From content too dangerous to witness? Drop your thoughts below and tell me which banned film from any era you think still deserves its prohibition today. Let's start a war in the comments.